Friends, this is Frederick Henry. I'm just doing a podcast on the 4th of November after the election, waiting for the 270 announcement of Joe Biden. I believe I'm going to be right up there. I think that right in front of our eyes, the election was stolen. I, like many of you perhaps, saw that the ascendancy was for Donald Trump. The crowds were for Donald Trump. The rallies were for Donald Trump. The trend was for Donald Trump. At a particular point, they realized that. They stopped the counting, they stopped the reporting, they imported, and they brought in the baskets and baskets and baskets of pro-Biden votes that they had stored in warehouses and in trucks and all that other kind of thing in Wisconsin, in Michigan, and elsewhere. They played it cool. And as Biden... I'm paraphrasing, Barack and I have developed the most elegant voter fraud scheme ever imagined. And they have succeeded right in front of our eyes. And the powers that be, including a man named Chris Christie, traitor, unbelievable, Chris Christie, saying that Trump should never have suggested voter fraud. How dare you? Then you have Roger Stone who says no, and I'm a Roger Stone fan, says, no, voter fraud is obvious, clear, and it's a plan, and it's been done right in front of our noses, and we are betrayed. Now, what does that mean for America? Well, at this point, at 8 o'clock, I expect Biden to reach 270 illegally and by cheating. I expect all the powers that be to fall in line because they don't know how to handle it. There's no plan. There's no plan in anybody's mind. There's no procedure in anybody's mind. There's no concept in anybody's mind how to correct a national theft, a theft of a federal election by the Democrat Party. And I believe that's exactly what it was, the theft of an election. Now, this involved perhaps the CIA, perhaps the FBI, perhaps the national security agencies, perhaps definitely the Democrat Party, perhaps election officials throughout the nation, perhaps attorneys general across the nation, perhaps. There's a lot of perhaps. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not a fool, and I can see with my own eyes that what happened was that Donald Trump was winning, would have won, and should have won, but the apparatus was in place by the Democrat Party and their cronies, the election officials, the Democrat officials throughout the nation, all kinds of co-conspirators to fix the election and make sure that Joe Biden, who has no agenda, who has no mind, who is going to be probably out of office by June. I predict Joe Biden will be declared unfit for office by July of 2021. And Kamala Harris will be president of the United States. I don't know who she'll pick. Many have said she'll pick Nancy Pelosi. I doubt it because Nancy Pelosi would overpower her, even as vice president. So she may be telling everybody that she'll pick Nancy Pelosi as the new vice president as she ascends to the presidency after Joe Biden resigns his office voluntarily, by the way, in July of 2021. These are my prophetic thoughts. However, what does that mean for America? It means that the agenda put out, but AOC didn't make the agenda. Taliban and all these other people didn't make the agenda. They're handlers, whether they're Chinese Communist Party, whether it's the Arabs, whether it's the Muslim Brotherhood, I don't know who it is, maybe it's an amalgam of all of that, have seized and now have proven they can, with the connivance of the mainstream media, NBC, CBS, ABC, MSNBC, Bill Gates, all these people who are wealthy beyond your and my imagination want to enslave us, to put the mask on our face, to tell us to stay indoors, to lock us out of schools, to lock us out of our congregations, to lock us out of our businesses, and to make sure that we have to beg for our food and beg for our lodging and beg for our protection. That's what's coming, folks. We're going to be Venezuela. We are going to be Venezuela. I promise. And Cuba. Believe me, it's going to happen. And to those good folks who are the Cuban Americans, the Nicaraguan Americans, the Venezuelan Americans, the African Americans, all those who came to the defense of President Trump and fought hard. I know you're not going to rebel. I know you're not going to riot. I know you're not going to burn down your cities. You're going to hunker down. You're going to say, grin and bear it. Well, yes, that is the only answer. We have no other answer. However, we can resist. There is something called passive resistance. There is a way to resist. We don't have to wear the mask. We don't have to stop going to school. We don't have to stop traveling on airplanes. We don't have to. They can, you see, if we all agree that we can travel on airplanes, we can travel by car, we can go on vacation, we don't have to wear a mask, we can go to school, we can go to work, we can be free. And don't forget, there's 300 million of us, and there's only a couple of million of them. And even though they may want the police and the army and the National Guard to suppress us, I think there are enough citizens in the police force, enough citizens in the security forces, enough citizens in the military generally who will not willingly suppress the population if we do not rebel, if we do not burn down the cities. If we burn down the cities, if we tear apart the society, if we act in a way that is unjust, they will. However, we have our guns, we have our bullets, and we have our integrity, and we can resist. And you don't have to be afraid of that. I'm not saying armed rebellion, I'm not saying insurrection, I'm not saying sedition, because armed rebellion has already happened through Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Armed sedition has already happened through Black Lives Matter and Antifa and other groups, leftist groups, and definitely treason has happened as the election has been stolen right in front of our eyes. However, we have John Roberts, who's the Supreme Court Justice, and sadly Brett Kavanaugh, who the president went to the great lengths to defend and get on the court, and we have Amy Comey on there, and she has reclused herself. She may not say that she has, but she has. So we are being betrayed up and down, left and right, sideways, below, everywhere. So what does America do? America goes along with it. I don't think I'm saying be obsequious or be submissive or be a slave. I'm not. But I am emotional, and I am moved to say that this theft of a federal election, this coup d'etat against a president of the United States, they finally did it. The Democrats have wanted to do that. The never-Trumpers have wanted to do that. The Bill Kristols of the world and all those types of people have wanted to do this. They found a way using COVID, using masks, and now using election fraud. They have managed to do it. And so, what do? We continue to love our beloved President Donald J. Trump. We will seek, I think we should all resolve today to defend him in his when he's out of office, to defend him against the retribution. The retribution of the Democrat Party against Donald Trump will not end when they throw him out of the White House. And that's what they're doing. They're forcing him out by fraud and cheating. It will continue through lawsuits, through all kinds of actions. And I just want to add something here. I'm very surprised, but I felt today that A.G. Barr and especially John Durham, everybody idolized John Durham. John Durham. He's the greatest thing since chopped liver. But John Durham produced nothing. He produced no indictments. He produced no investigation proof. He stalled and stalled and stalled and stalled and stalled under the idea that he's seeking criminal investigations. And now everything he has done is worthless. And he knew it all along. He knew. I believe that John Durham knew all along. And Sean Hannity, I love Sean Hannity, but Sean Hannity, whenever he holds anybody up for idolization, whenever he holds anybody up, Durham, he's a god. No, he's not. He's a crook, and he's a criminal. And what we have is a disaster. So these are the emotional responses of a citizen who is very frustrated, very angry, but I'm not going to rebel. I'm not going to have a riot. I'm not going to burn down my house or my buildings or my government. I'm not going to disobey the police. I'm not going to cause all kinds of behind-the-scenes insurrection and sedition and rebellion. I'm going to go along in the hopes that in the next 4 years, you and I and others can organize to oust President Kamala Harris and put back in a legitimate government of the United States of America. This is my feeling, my friends, and I'm allowed to have these feelings now. Under the Biden presidency, I probably will not be allowed to have these feelings. Under the Harris presidency, I will probably be arrested for these feelings. But this is November the 3rd, 2020, and under the law as it stands today, I am protected under free speech. And I claim that protection because I'm terrified of the future, that I will not have those protections in the future at all. So thank you very much for listening. I don't want to leave you with a discouragement, but I do want you to look at everything that happened with clear eyes and a clear head and a reasonable mind, because I do not believe that anyone with a clear mind and a clear head and a reasonable demeanor could ever see anything else but voter fraud and the theft of the presidency by the Democrat Party. Okay, those are my feelings. That's how I'm going to end the program. This is Frederick Henry, and thank you very much for listening.